This is going to be a quick and dirty update from my last video where I talked about AI not being as good or as optimistic in certain conditions. Even though I said that for the particular situation that I was examining, which was the Oanda gridbot, that it didn't bring as much optimization as I expected or thought it would. Even though I questioned whether or not it was valuable in terms of the amount of work that went into the optimization versus the optimization. There is a certain side note that we need to discuss. We are looking at the live market right now, and we are looking at the Oanda Gridbot 3. The one that's been optimized with the high-low approach versus sweeping every order. And as we can see, it is slightly faster, but not in the areas that I expected. One of the optimizations, or I should say one of the attributes of the optimization, is that it did have an underlying effect in other areas of the program that I didn't expect. So even though the timing is the same, as we look at the left-hand side of the screen, and we see 2 to 5, 10 seconds, 12 seconds, even though that timing hasn't changed, and we haven't seen a benefit in the frequency, we can see visually by watching the screen how quickly it is actually scrolling by compared to Oanda version 2. Gridbot version 2 scrolled by significantly slower. So this is a bit of a paradox in that we have an optimization that didn't optimize as well as we wanted for the part that we tried to optimize. But it did optimize other sections of the program inadvertently. This is the kind of problems that we face anytime we bring AI into a solution. The results we get don't always follow an intuitive pattern, but they still achieve what we might want in a different approach. Sometimes. Now this Gridbot version 3 is up and in the supplemental area on GitHub. The only differences between it and version 2 is I produce logs for, let's say, version 3 on it. But overall, the configuration is identical. Okay, I am in the file manager. I am looking at the log directory. And as we can see at the top of the log directory, I have version 2 logs and I have version 3 logs in the bottom of this directory. The logs aren't any different, to be quite honest. They're identical, it's just the naming is different because I wanted to be able to compare results side by side. And through that comparison, I came up with some unusual circumstances to pay attention to. One of which is the rate of trading has been increased. It's an interesting paradox because overall, this should not have happened. This doesn't make as much intuitive sense in one way as it should. But as we look at the number of trades, they have significantly increased. Now, in one way, it makes sense if the algorithm is processing data faster, it could process trades faster. So that does make sense in that regard. But the scope and level of the number of trades that have actually been produced doesn't make as much sense. That being, in the context of what I'm saying is, if we have a market that is moving in a particular direction, up, down, sideways, whatever movements we're making, it doesn't make sense that the bot is going to over accelerate for minor changes that are still based upon market movement at the level that it actually did. This is the interesting part about the optimization having an influence and an impact in an unexpected way. It adds to the level of the optimization being more specific in terms of overall functionality versus the intended goal of simply trying to optimize one section. And that is, in all honesty, one of the most critical components that we see. For example, let's take a specific log. Find one that is a slow market. Okay, let's go with French vanilla Euro USD. So let's find that same market up here and actually look at the log. Now we see the integrations, the timing, the reductions, the trades. And we see over here the timestamps that the trades took place. Now the thing about this is to pay attention to the distance and the number of timestamps. That is, how long did each trade take? We get an average. We can see a pattern. And through the comparative of that pattern, we can get an understanding and a rate of trade that takes place from one trade style, in this case sweeping every open order, to the second trade style of only checking the high and low positions. So let's now look at the version 3 for French vanilla Euro USD. And yet again, look at the number of trades. Look at the perspective distances between each trade. Whether it's buying or selling, there is a marked difference. There is a significance in how quickly the bot is processing information, but on a different level than expected. That really is one of the most interesting aspects of these kinds of optimizations. And that being simply, I didn't expect it to show up in other sections of the program as dramatically as it did. I expected the optimization to focus on that area, the area I was actually wanting to improve. But I didn't expect the overall tone of the optimizations to be significantly dramatic to the point that they are. So I'm going to have to reassess the significance of this optimization. It didn't optimize the section I wanted to, but it did have an impact on other areas that I wasn't expecting. Hopefully that helps in terms of when you do use AI to optimize your code and helping you actually track the weakest parts of your program. that the optimizations may in fact show up differently than what you expected. Share your thoughts and let me know what you think about this unique situation where the AI optimizations affected a different region of the program than expected. How do you believe this could help other areas of the program? And do you think that such optimizations may be worth more aggressively looking at? Let me know. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not, if you want to follow more content like this. Thank you for watching, and until next time.